G'day everyone, it's Brian Burns here, stock manager at the Montana Flat, and we're out here in the crop doing some soil assessments today.
Hi team, it's Reagan here from Soil Matters. I'm with the team of Montana Flat today in beautiful Southland, and we're looking at the regen crops, I suppose you'd probably call them. Diverse species, you know, there's over probably 10-15 plus species in here, and we've had some conversations in the bullshed today about plant species and rooting depths and how they fit in with these systems, and how you can manipulate the soil profile in your favour to cycle more nitrogen, phosphate and sulphur, and also trace elements.
We tested this paddock last year when it was in grass, so we'd test it now when it's in crop, and then we'll test it again next year when it's back in grass, and so we get a good idea of how things are moving, what it's like, getting baselines for how to work everything. So what we've got here is a lot of different species. We've got things like vetch growing here. We've got Phacelia, which is solely for beneficial bugs to come in and help us fight away the bugs we don't want, basically. We've got sunflowers, which are for the same thing, but sunflowers also have great rooting.
The sunflower here, in this kind of situation, has got large branching roots that will go further than a Italian ryegrass in a short period of time. So what we have here, we've got the base of the sunflower. We've got nice big lateral roots. It's a little dry at the moment, and we're getting to the end of the life cycle, so we are now fully reproductive. And what's going to start happening is we're getting some senescence from the leaves, and nutrients are being pushed up, along with protein conversion is being stored in the seed for the energy source for the following crop. So this is why we don't see as much white, nice fibrous root growth here. However, the beauty about these plants is they have such a nice big root bulb in the bottom. There's a lot of soil disturbance by growing these. They hold the soil up from compaction from stock, because there's nice large lateral root systems, and also they have a nice big deep taproot as well. So that's funneling down and picking up nutrients, as well as creating next year's space for next year's roots. It's also delivering carbohydrates from the leaves into the root zones and deeper into the soil profile. So if we can have oxygen and liquid carbon deeper in the profile, we have a bigger biomass available for cycling sulphur, phosphate and nitrogen. And then the beauty about these are they go through the four-legged composting machines called stock or livestock, sheep, cows, and then it's turned back into beautiful manure that's then utilised by soil biology to therefore increase their population, and you have this beautiful cycle of organic matter going through a composting system such as an animal and being returned back as nutrient for the soil for the following crop.
And then we've got these broad beans here, and I don't know if I can pull one of these up or not. No, that's a Swede. But these guys here grow a great root system, and they're actually on their way out now, so it's harder to find, but they usually got a lot of pink nodules growing on them, and that's what fixes the nitrogen into your soil. And then we've got chicory, which is just a bit of herbage, and chicory grows a really deep root to access deep down nutrients. We've got plantain, which is just a bit of a filler. We've got flax here, or linseed, which is also another great one for beneficials, another good miner, and just almost a bit of biodiversity for diversity's sake. The more species you can have working together, the more of you get what they call a quorum sense, which is where plants start working together to activate nutrients to protect each other against bugs, and it's a really interesting thing once you start getting into that.
And coming back to the depth of profile of these species, it's always an aim to to move away from a monoculture to have multiple rooting depths, so we can infiltrate more oxygen and also within species have different root exudates entering the soil profile to then feed the biology in the soil. So the more oxygen we can have in the soil by deeper rooting depth, the more water retention we can hold within that profile, the more mineralized nutrients we can make available for the plants, and then that just promotes organic matter growth above ground. So it all happens in the ground, and whatever happens in the ground determines largely, to a point when you're not using synthetic nutrients, to the yield above ground.
So this is going to stick around till winter. It's a bit of rye corn there, which will then be grazed by sheep in the winter. So a lot of these plants would have done their dash by then. They're solely here for the betterment of the crop as a whole. So there's been no bug sprays on this, and it got terminated with the spray, but since then it's had no chemical application. So again, as you can see, it's all healthy and nice and growing well. And as the base of this crop is for what we want for our fodder in the winter, we've got Swedes, Southland Swede, and we've got turnips. Now that's the bulk of this crop. That's what we want to really thrive to feed our stock through the winter. I've been told it's the size of the Swede in the picture that matters, so bigger Swedes, better picture.